Hello, InstaFam. Jacque Tarlton, co-founder of Plant Chicks. And you guys, we have an amazing episode of Rock Out with Your Dog Out. We have Dr. Joel Kahn, who I'm sure most of you guys know who he is. He is America's Healthy Heart Doctor. He is going to be joining us, and he is going to be talking about Men's Health Month. So this is going to be epic. Dr. Kahn is brilliant, and he's so damn funny. So I really can't wait to hear what comes out of his mouth. So this is going to be quite interesting, and I really can't wait for Dr. Kahn to join in, you guys. He's so damn funny and smart. And one of the things, too, so as I said, he's America's Healthy Heart Doctor. He sees patients, like, literally from around the world, people flying into Michigan to see him. And one of the things he does, he has changed his cardiology practice to be all preventative cardiology. So he's practicing true medicine. And with Men's Health Month, the main thing is, I can't see so far away, my phone's so far away, but Men's Health Month, men are not the best at getting in and seeing the doctors. Hey, David, how are you? I'm really glad that you're joining in. Maybe you can ask some questions, because I saw your ginger, that you're drinking some ginger tea. And I don't think, David, that I've ever known anyone who doesn't like ginger. I don't even know how that's possible. So how are you feeling? Let's see. But let's see also what Dr. Kahn has to say, because he might be able to point you in the right direction too. So, funny story. My husband and I are going to dinner tonight with two other couples, and I had to text them and tell them that they need to watch this live tonight, because they might make different menu choices after listening to what Dr. Kahn has to say. You guys, it's crazy. So hopefully he'll be here soon. Stay tuned, stay tuned. Dr. Kahn will be joining us momentarily, and he will share his top tips on Men's Health Month. And I can't wait. I think I know a couple of things he's going to be talking about. One thing for sure, and he'll say that towards the end, which is just something for you guys to stay tuned for a while. Let's see. I'm just making sure. Hey, Laura. How funny is it? So Laura is watching this, and I ended up texting her boyfriend, and I thought I was texting her. Like, you guys have to watch this. You guys, I'm so excited for this live. So Dr. Kahn, where are you? I think I'm going to grab my computer and text him real fast. Hold on. But stay tuned, because this is going to be good. So anyway, sorry, everything's moving around. Let me know if text or comment below if you have any questions specifically for Men's Health Month that you would like him to cover, and we will absolutely do that. Okay, I just texted him. Oh, here we go. Dr. Kahn, are you ready for this? You guys, this is going to be awesome. All right, let's see. Go live. He's a funny one and a smart one. Are you guys ready for this?
Wow.
Dr. Kahn, how are you?
Why are you standing on my head? But I'm good, thank you.
Listen, so I actually had to my husband and I are going to dinner after this live with two other couples, and I texted them and I said, you guys need to listen to this live, because your men might choose different menu items after listening to what you have to say. So.
I agree. We need to pick the appetizer, the main, and the dessert for most amorous success after dinner. Maybe during dinner.
Even during, you never know. No, let's dinners. All right, Dr. Kahn, let's dive in. So, what are some of your top tips for Men's Health Month?
Sure, and it's like all fun, but there's always a serious tone, because we know men go to the doctor a lot less. When I give lectures to the public, it's 90% women if it's at a library or a church or something. They're more likely at this middle age to clunk over dead or develop a serious disease. So we just got to slap them. I was going to say bitch slap them, whatever it takes. Drag them, get them to realize. I just had a woman leave the office, and everyone, 52-year-old lawyer, please, let's talk to your husband next. Bring him in. I mean, because really in your 40s and 50s, you see the headlines. It's not that women don't have serious heart issues. but it's the men that are dropping dead at this age almost always. It's very hard to come up with an example that's like John Singleton and Luke Perry and others that have recently died of stroke, particularly.
Yeah.
So the serious issues are, some are really basic. Get to a doctor or even a pharmacy. Know your blood pressure. Step on the scale. I mean, know at least your rudimentary blood sugar, blood cholesterol, and such. That's not enough, but at least it gets you in the game. Might be a work physical, insurance physical. Might be, your primary care doc that you're seeing. You don't even have to see a doctor for blood work. You can use companies like Wellness FX, lifeextension.com. You can pick out some really advanced labs, men's health panels and such, and, find out, where you're at. But it's really worth once, guys. So let's talk about clues you might have heart disease. The one you don't want to develop because it's really late in the game is, you're playing hockey or softball or you're running on a treadmill and you feel pressure, tight, squeezing, a bubble in the chest, up into the neck, got to stop, can't catch your breath, all that. You don't want to wait till that, because if that's the real deal, you're 90% blocked, and we're catching it before a heart attack, but we're catching it at a bad point. You want early clues, and look at it's the number one cause of death and disability in men, so this is not rare. I mean, there are no cardiologists that don't have full practices because there's just too much business that's out there. So around age 45, maybe age 40 even, if you've got a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, grandparents, had a heart attack young, had bypass young, had a stent young, maybe even at age 40, you want to get some really advanced lab work. Anybody can just Google. I've got a blog, I think in January, called No More Heart Attacks, Preventing Heart Attacks 2019, Joel Kahn, KHN. It lists lab tests that go beyond the ordinary, and you do want to go beyond the ordinary. Some of you might remember 2 years ago, Bob Harper, Biggest Loser trainer, massive heart attack, age 51, almost died, announced on the Dr. Oz show, look, I have a kind of cholesterol nobody's ever heard of. It's called lipoprotein little a, costs $20 to check. I've drawn it on thousands of people. That you still need the basics, but you want to go a little beyond the basics. They're neither hard to get nor expensive, and if you primary care doctors want to do them, just order them at WellnessFX or lifeextension.com. Get the right labs. And the only other key here is there is a CT scan. I'm going to show you pictures as I walk around my office. There's a CT scan of the heart that every hospital of medium and large size does. This is cool. I'll show you a picture. But that right there, it's pretty good. You can see. That's a slice of a person's chest. Could be man or woman, but there's no boobs. It's probably a guy. The arrow is pointing to the heart. You can see white. White are ribs. White is the sternum, breastbone. White is the vertebra at the back. The arrows point to the fact that the heart arteries are all full of white. That's full of calcium. That's full of rock-hard deposits. You heard the term hardening of the arteries. You want this CAT scan. It takes 10 seconds at a hospital. It costs about $75 to $100. It's been available for 20 years. Just sadly, most primary care docs don't recommend it, nurse practitioners, PAs. Ask for a heart calcium scan. Heart calcium scan.
Let me ask you a question about this. So I heard you talk about this calcium CT scan initially, and I told my husband about it, made him get it, but he was talking to one of his cardiologists, and the cardiologist like, no, we don't really know if it tells us that much. The radiation, I don't know if the amount of radiation that you get is worth having this done. What would you say?
Find a new cardiologist, recommendation number one. Number two, the radiation dose is less than a mammogram. So there's a whole lot of women running around getting mammograms. We're talking not just guys. Women can get the test too. Guys aren't getting radiation mammograms. They can take one hit every 10 years to look at this. And number three, there are literally thousands of research studies that demonstrate this is the only simple way to know the score. Are you a zero, you're youthful, you're healthy, your risk of heart attack is close to zero, or are you walking around with a problem? My entire practice are people that have no symptoms, but they're full of calcium, they're full of plaque, and we work to develop a program. This is a shameless plug. Dead Execs Don't Get Bonuses, a book that I re-released about 6 months ago. It's on Amazon, very inexpensive. It goes through the science. Now, the only drawback to the calcium CT scan is there's not big money in it, so there has not been a giant study to say, we got 5,000 guys at age 45, get the scan, and we have a protocol to manage them, and we've proven they have less heart attacks and drop dead less in the future, or 5,000 that we just treat traditionally. We haven't done that study because it's going to cost billions and nobody's going to do it. But whether it's American Heart Association, University of Texas, Southwestern Medical Center, on and on, it's a highly recommended test. And in some places, you don't need a doctor's prescription. You can just walk in the hospital and go it. Now, let me back up a little bit. Besides this awful feeling called angina pressure, bubble-like 3-4 minutes of pain, could be walking in the cold parking lot, could be during sex, that's a classic situation, could be a big meal, but you go and exercise, but your chest just feels terrible. There's 2 other clues worth pointing out. There's 5, but premature balding, premature gray, premature wrinkles on your forehead have all been shown. But there is a funny crease on your earlobe that you shouldn't have, but a doctor in New York 50 years ago, Dr. Frank, noticed in his patients. If my patients have heart disease, I just keep noticing this diagonal earlobe crease. You're not born with it ever. You just look at a picture on Google of Steven Spielberg. He's got a really prominent one on his earlobe. Hopefully he knows the implications. But science has said in the last 10 years, Dr. Frank, you were right. That's about 70% accurate. Wow. For identifying clogged heart arteries, and more than a little clog. And it happens before there's tightness, pressure, blackouts, or even death. Never ignore that. Go get the CT scan. Now, 70% right means 30% wrong, so you might come out with a perfect heart result, which is good. The other one is, and this is the big one, this is the big one we're talking about. This is the topic of another book I wrote, the famous Banana and Tangerine book, Being in Sex, which is men having trouble in the bedroom, erection trouble, hard-on trouble. That can be a warning, and don't ignore it. Don't just go online at Roman.com and get yourself some blue pills. That may be your body telling you sick arteries, sick arteries, sick arteries. It may start below the belly button, but it may be a clue to save your life 3-4 years from now, to save your heart 3-4 years from now with angina, with a heart attack, or even dropping dead. So guys have an erectile dysfunction. Could be emotional, could be testosterone, could be thyroid, could be psychological, response they're having with their partner, whatever. It's most commonly bad blood vessels. So I say, don't just get a blue pill. Get this whole checkup. Don't let your man drop dead. Whether you're a man or you're a gal, if you got a man with that problem, we're an equal opportunity checkup place. Find out.
Get checked. So you actually pointed out to me for the very first time, this was several years ago, you were at a conference in Orlando and I met you. And you had mentioned that erectile dysfunction is an early indicator for heart disease. And I had no idea that was the case. So I think it's fascinating, and I'm glad that there's more and more attention being brought to light. In the movie Game Changers, it's going to be, I think it's finally coming out in September, James Cameron's movie. So they talk a lot about this, and it's really, really impactful. So you talked a lot about different things that what men need to do for Men's Health Month. They need to go to the doctor. They need to know their blood sugars, their blood pressure, their cholesterol. They need to know some basic lab work. Go in, see the physician, get the calcium CT heart scan, erectile dysfunction. You want to make sure if you're having any problems in the bedroom, that you need to go to the doctor and get that checked out. But let's talk about what you do in your practice. You have changed your practice all to preventative medicine. And what are some of the things that you do to prevent your patients from having heart attacks? What's the main thing you're doing?
Yeah. So it's many layers, but part of it's high technology, which is these most advanced labs. If anybody wants to look into it, the Quest Lab, the biggest lab drawer in the United States, bought a lab called Cleveland Heart Labs. I draw these exotic, crazy labs, but people's insurance covers them. So we do a deep dive technology. We do the deep dive technology of the heart CD. And you can also do, I'll show you on my wall, I'm very proud of this. Everybody can see, right there. These are pictures from various patients, their name is covered, of their carotid arteries to their brain. It's a simple little ultrasound that takes 20 minutes, no radiation, but you get very detailed measures if the arteries are aging. You're a 48-year-old guy, but your arteries are like a 70-year-old guy. That's the data, and that's not good. But then we go from high technology, best labs, best heart CT, best carotid. None of this stuff is expensive. None of this stuff is exclusively that of the ultra rich. And I'll just tell you an anecdote. I work in a free clinic in Detroit. Many of you know the name Mitch Albom, the author of Tuesdays with Maury and many other books. Mm-hmm. So I work in a clinic that he sponsors, and these women it's a women's clinic. They have no insurance. I get the same heart CT scan because they can come up with $75. They can't spend $2,000. So my CEOs and my free clinic patients are getting the same care because that's the magic of some of this stuff. It's technology that isn't insanely expensive. It's not the $20,000 proton beam accelerator test or something. But then I switched completely to lifestyle. Do you know, let's talk about game changers, that the meal you eat today will affect your sexual performance, and the meals you eat every day will affect your cancer, your heart disease, your dementia, and your very survival risk over the years ahead, and it's not all that long. And we talk about fitness, we talk about sleep, we talk about stress, we talk about the contaminants that you have to protect from. It's not cool to be a guy with a plastic bottle full of water because those chemicals are going to impact your thyroid, your hormones, and maybe your sexual function, your fertility. It's not cool to be a guy using Teflon pans and scraping all that PFAS into your body. That'll affect your fertility. Yeah, I try and it's not cool to put old-fashioned kind of personal products on your skin because you're going to get triclosan and bisphenol A in the container and some of the other contaminants that interrupt your endocrine system. So, I keep a few weird things in my office, even though it's a cardiology office. Guys, you want to read the back and you want to read all those words, but it doesn't have all those chemical additives. And, get your honey or on your own, go upgrade your health a little bit. Because what you put in your skin is in your body in 26 seconds. And even the water you put on your body, that's why we'll go to the level of talking about a home reverse osmosis system. So I'm trying to teach them that it's manly to take good self-care and, not just showering now and then, which is a good idea too. But, everything that touches your skin or goes in your mouth and even goes in your hair, you really ought to be looking for items that have been tested and are free of some of these endocrine disrupting chemicals. EWG.org, environmentalworkinggroup.org, is such a great website for people to learn more on all the environmental issues and topics.
They also have a really great app, and you can literally scan barcodes in the grocery store, in Target, wherever you're shopping, to see how it rates. And you really want to make sure that it's low on the scale. It's very easy to use. I love it. I'm glad you're talking about that.
But, you brought up the Game Changers, and I don't know that everybody in your audience, knows, but that is a documentary on plant-based athletes that's many of us have seen a version of in maybe a special meeting, but it hasn't been released to theaters yet. It'll be a big splash because James Cameron from Titanic and Avatar and such has a lot of pull with release. And James Wilkes, who was a UFC fighter. But there is this scene for about 9 minutes in the movie that 3 undergrad athletes at University of Southern California, the Trojans, are brought in. There's a urologist in L.A., Aaron Spitz, M.D., a real fine guy. I have his book here. I'll show you because it'll make everybody laugh. I'm pretty sure I have it here. But they're fed a meal of meat and cheese and typical athlete food one day. And, maybe I left it at home. He wrote a book called The Penis Book, but I don't think I have it sitting right here. Too bad. Anyways, it's got a great eggplant on the cover. Aaron Spitz, MD. I'll give him a plug. But these athletes are fed a typical American athlete meal, and they go to sleep that night with a special ring on their male member called usually a penis. And it measures how many times during the night they have a response, an erection, and how hard it is, how long it is. And they come back the next day and they eat a plant-based meal and they go through the same process. This actually is considered serious science, and it's unbelievable the difference, one plant-based meal versus one meat-based, cheese-based, saturated fat bomb meal on the number, frequency, hardness, size of their erection all night. And when the athletes find out the results, it's one of the funniest, little pieces of science film, like Forks Over Knives, but Forks Over Knives was pretty PG rated. And the Game Changers steps it up a little bit. So that is actually, there's multiple studies. One bad meal, you're going out to dinner tonight. Yes. If you went to a burger, fry, milkshake kind of dinner, it immediately impacts the health of your arteries, and a guy will not be able to perform like a guy that said, you know what, it's it's not grandpa's body anymore. I'm going to put arugula, and I'm going to eat a tempeh burger, and I'm going to put some baked potato, not fries. I'm going to have green tea, not a milkshake. It's a whole different sexual animal when you take good care of yourself.
Hugely different sexual animal. And I'm so glad that you talked about that. And literally, I cannot wait for Game Changers to come out. And I'm getting a group of our friends to go to the movie with their spouses, bringing my husband. I cannot wait for them to see this. And it's really funny that there was such a huge difference, the amount of increase in the erections and the density, like everything, after the plant-based meal versus the animal meal. These kids were young, and I was really surprised that it was such a significant change. So that's like super impactful, and I think that everyone working on that documentary, after they saw this, they ended up going plant-based, right?
Yeah, a lot of the crew. I mean, the originators of the movie were already plant-based, but a lot of the crew. It's impossible not to be impressed, and that's what's made it a little easier to. Weightlifters that are plant-based, and Lewis Hamilton, Formula F1 champ of the world, that's plant-based, and Tennessee Titans that are plant-based, and Kyrie Irving that's plant-based, and John Sally, former NBA star, that's plant-based, and on and on. I mean, it's impossible to say that you can't be strong or fast or world-class, and it takes meat to get there. It's just not reasonable. But we have so much social pressure, meat, and it's not consistent with the science. I wrote a blog a couple months ago, really bad year to be a butcher, because it's every year, but the first 6 months of this year, there have been so many major studies, small decreases in all meats, processed meats, and lifespan, small substitutions of plant foods in place of animal foods, and cancer, colorectal risk. There was a big one on colorectal cancer about 2 months ago. It's a real deal, and guys just got to buck it up and take good self-care. Women don't have to own this wellness world.
That's right, and I think it's amazing all the information that you just shared with everyone. So men, I hope you're watching. Get to your doctor, know your numbers, and also, Dr. Kahn, you see patients literally from all over the world, right?
I do.
How do people find you?
Shameless plug. It's not a plug. Maybe you can see that. There I am, Joel Kahn. It's called the Kahn Center for Cardiac Longevity in Bingham Farms, Michigan. But, I mean, I'm everywhere. drjoelkahn.com, drjoelkahn.com. And, fun practice, whether it's the patient in the Philippines that I have on Monday by Skype, or patient that drove 1 mile from suburban Detroit to my office. But the thing is, it's very personalized. I had a woman today talk about women, cholesterol 320. I mean, she didn't leave here with vitamins or prescription. We're going to do the deep labs, do the heart testing, develop a plan. She already made some dietary shifts. I'm like on this big oat bran thing, which was super popular way to lower your cholesterol 25 years ago. And we all know kind of oatmeal, but oat bran may be even better. So, and I'll even show you, got such a fun practice. There is such a problem with getting enough omega-3 in the world. I must have 100 boxes of ground flaxseed for my patients to take home and start getting some. That's more of a brain food than it is a heart issue. But, there's nothing more manly than a sensitive guy eating oatmeal with ground flaxseed on it. I mean, he'll get chicks every day.
Every day.
I tell you, just go to the bar, start reading my book at the bar. If you're a single guy, order an arugula salad with a green tea. I mean, you're going to be swarmed like a Jimmy Buffett, sharks to the left, sharks to the right.
I love it. You are so awesome. You guys, reach out to Dr. Kahn. He is very responsive, and if you have any questions, I really do recommend you see him. He is doing amazing work in plant-based medicine, and I love, you have been on the Joe Rogan podcast, you've been on the doctors, Dr. Oz, you've been on everything.
Oh, I'd like to get on Ellen. There's Joe Rogan. I'd like to get on Ellen. Ellen, if you're watching this, I'd like to get on your show. But yeah, they're fun. They make an impact. And my kids thought it was pretty cool. I was hanging with Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Oh, and congratulations. Your daughter just got engaged.
You're so sweet. Yes, a plant-based daughter. who will have to convert her non-plant-based fiance over to the team. But
well, maybe he'll watch this and he'll want to convert.
yeah, he's got 3 degrees from Harvard at this point, so he's got the brain power to identify the plant-based trend.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, Dr. Kahn, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
We're definitely going to have you back another time. And
Okay.
I hope to see you soon. Where are you going next? Where can people find you? Like which conferences were you speaking?
That's a good question. Locally, but I don't have a big national forum. I just was in New York City 10 days ago. That was the big one. It's the World Plan Expo. It'll happen. I'll let you know.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank
Thanks.
you so much for joining us, Dr. Kahn. Rock out with your knockout. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love Dr. Kahn. And if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out to him. He will get back to you. And if you want to see him, you can do a consult with him. But you guys have an amazing evening. I'm going to make my husband go watch this so he can choose some really, really healthy foods for dinner. And we can have fun tonight.